So we're in the Nefesh HaChaim.
Sounds very cool.
Right. So the Nefesh HaChaim Shar basically approaches. So the gate deals with Torah and what the purpose of Torah in Judaism is in general, and the angle that he takes from it is the definition of what does it mean to study Torah Lishma. Okay, and he makes a big chiddush where he says that Torah Lishma is very different than all other mitzvahs. All of the mitzvahs Lishma means for the sake of Hashem, not for my own sake, but for the sake of Hashem, not for any other ulterior motive, but for the sake of Hashem. When it comes to learning Torah, he says that Lishma means for the sake of Torah. Okay? Meaning, and what does it mean for the sake of Torah? For the sake of the knowledge of Torah, for the sake of understanding the Torah, for the sake of ingesting and, right? And so that's what it means.
For kavod?
What?
Kavod of Torah?
Kavod that's already not, that's not a primary, that's already a kind of a corollary. The main idea is that it has to be for the sake of learning Torah. It's very simple, very practical, very pragmatic. And to him it's the same thing as for the sake of Hashem, because Torah and Hashem is really kind of one entity. Okay? And from that he builds, a lot of different ideas along the way, but he also, as in this chapter, it's also very different than all other gates from Nefesh HaChaim, is because he addresses all other aspects of the greatness of learning Torah in general, which is why this of all the Prokim of Nefesh HaChaim, this is the only one that's really learned in yeshivas. The other ones are found, right? Even though Chaim Voloshin is the founder of what's called the yeshiva movement. Right, so this whole idea of Torah Lishma is really kind of the soil upon which all of the yeshivas of today are built, right? Which is learn Torah Lishma, meaning you learn Gemara as almost like as a science, right? You approach to it just to get to the bottom of the facts without sitting there and swaying necessarily back and forth and going to the mikveh before and. Those are all nice things, but that's not what Lishma means. Lishma means I want to know what this book is saying. Okay, and that to him is identical as learning for the sake of Hashem. As a matter of fact, he would say probably if you learn Torah for the sake of Hashem, that could we pointed out 2 weeks ago I think that actually could be a downgrade from learning Torah Lishma just for its own sake, for the sake of knowing it. Why is it a downgrade? Because if you learn Torah for Hashem, then what you're doing is, okay, so right now I have to fill mitzvah. Let's say I'm putting on tefillin, right? I'm putting on tefillin. Why am I putting on tefillin? Because Hashem told me to put on tefillin. I'm putting on tefillin only for Hashem, right? Very spiritual mitzvah. I get all spiritual, right? And so I'm in the moment of learning, of putting on tefillin, I'm putting them on for Hashem. When I take off my tefillin, what am I doing? Nothing. I'm not doing anything else. I'm moving on with the rest of my life. Torah is different because when I'm learning Torah Lishma, then it's not this particular. Today I'm only going to learn a small piece. I'm going to learn a few ideas. I'm going to pick up a few things, but it's not about today. It's about my whole life. My whole life becomes one giant journey of discovering what Torah is all about, and so really Torah Lishma becomes my whole life.
Okay.
And so at any point in time when I'm learning, when I'm sitting down in the Beis Medrash or I'm at home just doing my regular thing, but it's always in the back of my mind because my whole life is now about figuring out this wisdom of God, which is what the Torah is. So then I'm constantly, so it's ner mitzvah v'Torah, or a ner is a candle and Torah is a light. What does it mean? Right? Candle is one little light, and Torah is all-encompassing light. I would say Talmud Torah connected kulam. That's what. So this Torah Lishma, which on one hand seems more pragmatic, more practical, and actually less spiritual, in reality, according to Nefesh HaChaim, is actually elevates it to a much more complete system, a much more whole life encompassing endeavor, and so it becomes much greater than any other individual mitzvah. Even though Torah is also one of the 613, but it's one of the 613, which we say Keneged Kulam. It's all encompassing, right? Because it becomes my whole life's endeavor. Okay, but along the way in this chapter, he goes in through every single mila. Again, I don't know how to translate mila, but a higher quality or a benefit that a person gets from learning Torah. Okay? So in the previous chapter, so we're in chapter 18. The previous chapter talked about the various protections that the Torah provides. Somebody who learns Torah, he's protected not only in this world, he's also protected in the next world from Gehenna. Okay? And we discussed that to as much as we could understand. That is one of those chapters that we have least clarity on, because we don't understand fully why the Torah should provide this extra protection. If a person deserves Gehenna, he should get Gehenna. Okay, so we had some ideas, but we don't have full clarity on it.
Какие
Okay?
еще три ворота другие?
The other ones talk about
Three
right. The
gates.
first one talks about what exactly is a human being, and Bechira, and what mitzvah is and what nevera is, and the middle two are basically tefillah related, are prayer related. One is specifically about prayer. The other one is more in terms of how prayer relates to the oneness of God. Okay, yeah, very esoteric, very interesting things. All right.